How we doing, everyone? And welcome back to FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. It is a long vacation, but we are back. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Roller 31. Mega, how was your time off? And are you excited to be back with some NASCAR racing in your life?
Well, it was time off from NASCAR. We still had baseball every single day, but trying to get back into the swing of doing NASCAR and baseball. And I'm looking at and I'm trying to remember, okay, they were at New Hampshire and I don't remember what happened. I remember the race before that for the trucks was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
In whatever state fairground they were at,
Nashville.
Dirt course. No, I think that was it wasn't it in Iowa or something. It wasn't in
Was it the fair? Yeah, it was that Iowa. Okay, yeah.
It's not, because we were wrong about it. We thought it was in Tennessee, but it wasn't.
That's right. Okay, now we're back up to speed.
But and then it's trying to get data for this. They haven't been in Watkins Glen in a truck in 20 years. They only have one road race this year, so this is gonna be quite interesting. And they threw in a lot of ringers and a lot of craziness. So let's try to light this candle and see where we end up.
Exactly. All right, let's get into it. We are at Watkins Glen International, as we had said up at the top. United Rentals 176, the 72 laps on this traditional road course, as you would say, not like your Daytona road course or the upcoming Indianapolis road course. So exactly. So we have a traditional road course up ahead, and we have Austin Hill starting out on the pole, the last truck race winner at the fairgrounds that we were at, wherever they were in America. What's your thoughts on Austin Hill, Hattori Enterprises, the 16 car, and what are your thoughts overall adding on to Austin Hill about where these teams are going to be coming off of a long break?
Okay, well, we have a lot of things to look at this point, because I believe this is the last race before the playoffs.
It is.
So
this is the win and get in.
Correct. Austin Hill won by attrition here. He didn't really dominate or win the last race. Austin Hill has had an average season, probably substandard by his his expectations, let's say.
Yeah.
He's starting on the pole here. He's not a good road course driver. However, somebody here is probably going to get out first. I don't know if there's going to be competition caution. There is possibly some weather in the forecast, but then again, on these road courses, they have the rain tires. They have windshield wipers I've seen them on the cars. I don't remember if they're going to be on the trucks or not. And there was an ARCA race tonight, so I think this is very important for us to talk about to the viewers. Corey Heim, who's going to be in the Kyle Busch truck, the 51, probably the best truck in the series, equipment-wise, he won it. Austin Hill started third, and he finished second. He didn't lead any laps. The only two people that led laps were Ty Gibbs and Heim. So, I mean, I looked at him on the pole and I'm thinking, he's not a road course driver. Is he going to fall back? But then I see, okay, ARC is in a car, it's not in a truck. But still, I think there's some promise seeing him finish second, starting third. He was able to hold his position on this course. I mean, you really don't have some great drivers here, but, Gibbs, he's aggressive. He's good. Hocevar was in this. Taylor Gray, who's Tanner Gray's brother, who's also in this, was in it. He finished seventh. Austin Wayne Self, our favorite cowboy, finished ninth. Jack Wood, he finished 10th. And then Sam Mayer, who's starting 40th, he finished 14th. And see if there's anybody else important. Chase Briscoe was in this. He didn't do very good. He actually got suspended, which I don't know what that means in a race.
Interesting.
Yeah. There are a bunch of other scrubs in here. Tyler Ankrum was in here. He didn't do that good. He only finished 22nd after starting 10th, and it doesn't say there's any mechanical problems. So I think, there's definitely a couple of names in this field, and for Hill to hold it. So after seeing this, I'm thinking, I was kind of stay fade just because it's not his wheelhouse, but if he can get out there and lead a couple of these early laps at 8,300, I don't think he's a cash play, but I think, he's okay for GPP.
I thought so.
Probably
too.
the longest answer on the first driver in the history of our videos, but
typically the fade and a road course, place differential, usually king, because not that many laps to lead, not many fast laps to get from, maybe not say fastest laps, but laps led. You want place differential. But I understand your sentiment with the $8,300 price tag. I could see after going through all that, your thoughts. If he finishes inside the top 5, gets maybe 30 lead laps or laps led. Can't believe I keep saying lead laps. Get my head back into it. Laps led, Austin Hill. If he gets 30 laps led, finishes inside the top 5, I could see paying off 8,300. So I understand that GPP play from that aspect, but certainly not a cash play. Next up, we have Todd Gilland, a little bit more road course to Gilland's name, and then Chandler Smith starting third. What are your thoughts on the second and third place drivers in this field?
Gillian is a decent road course driver, and I think he's the one that could overtake Hill and maybe be the more likely one to get out there and to actually try to lead some of these early laps. Chandler Smith, I have really no interest in, even though he's in a Kyle Busch truck, not a great road course driver, and I think he's just going to kind of end up fading back.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Chandler Smith. Typically a volatile driver, starting way too high. I wouldn't even like him if we were at, say, Atlanta or something like that. Just too far ahead for him, for my liking. I do like Gilland.
The only thing that's interesting about Chandler Smith is he's only 40 points above the cut line for the 11th place.
Yes, so he's racing for
he has
playoffs.
Incentive.
Yeah. Real quick, if we want to get into it on the playoffs, 16 drivers, right? Or no, this is 10.
10.
Best of 10. Yeah, best of 10. We have Chandler Smith in 11th, Derek Kraus in 12th, Ankrum in 13th, Sauter in 14th, Austin Williams Self probably in a win to get in position. And then 10th and 9th is Stuart Friesen.
In all actuality, if anybody wins this, they're going to get in. If Egan wins this, they're going to get in. But not everybody's racing for points, though, because not everybody qualifies.
Yeah, I'm when I said race to get in, meaning like there's no possible outcome they could on points get in. They would have to win the race in order to actually get in. Ankrum and Kraus, they still have the opportunity to race their way in on points just in this one race. Say Stuart Friesen and Chandler Smith wreck. Stuart Friesen being in 10th. Hocevar probably looks pretty safe in 9th. And Infinger is definitely in if he gets in on points. So, there's your quick rundown on the standings. That's one case to make on Chandler Smith, but I'm still going to be out. I like Todd Gilland because of his road course experience. I don't mind him. But as I said, place differential's king, and we got a lot of guys to talk about later on in this video. So let's just keep it rolling here. Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes. These are two guys that are, pretty good drivers in the series. Ben Rhodes had won at the Daytona Road Course earlier this year. That's not your typical road course, though. That is the Speedway road course that we see, the new style. As I said, Watkins Glen is a traditional with, big hills and, tight pin turns and chicanes. They got, all that the road course can throw at you. And Matt Crafton, a lot of experience, but, Truck Series doesn't race road courses every year. So I'm not sure I really like Matt Crafton in this setting. What are your thoughts?
I think they're both interesting in GPPs, but, what you're looking for here is who can get out front potentially early and lead some laps and, finish in the top 5 still. Just before some of the guys potentially from the back could get up and, do some damage.
Agreed. Definitely my thoughts exactly. We got John Hunter Nemechek. 9,500. Not a bad price tag.
Yeah, I think he's going to be over-owned just based on his namesake. But if you've looked at his current form, he's really been slipping. He really struggled at the last race on the dirt track. Hasn't been like the study was like the couple races before that. I don't know if he's on cruise control. Like he's won a ton of races this year.
He's safely in the first spot.
Yeah. So like, why push it? You're like, we're not setting any records this year in truck racing or anything. So, just get into the playoffs and, take it from there. So,
yeah, I think that's what they're probably doing.
Yeah, sorry. He's one that wouldn't surprise me if you like went out there and won this. But again, I just don't think he's like a super strong one. So GPP maybe, but I don't think I'm going to have any ownership. But I think the field is going to have a lot of ownership on him. So
yes, if what we know about John Hunter Nemechek is week in, week out, he's at least 30% owned. Maybe there's a little bit more sharper DFS players on the same page as us with the fade. Because of ownership, because of, the cruise control, probably just taking victory laps here. He's probably firmly in place for the number one spot in the playoffs. He's well ahead to even get through the field of 10 into the, that next group of the 8, and probably not taking no chances on a road course that they don't have to win. So good fade call there. I like it. Next up, we have Derek Kraus, 6,600. Looks like the odd man out here, but he is also racing for playoffs. Yeah. As we had mentioned, 6,600 is really cheap for a guy racing for the playoffs, but what stands in his way, I think it's the experience on the road course. What are your thoughts?
It's not a great truck, and he's starting way too high. If he ends up, even if you play at 68, if he ends up finishing like 20th, then it's not going to be pretty for your lineup.
Yeah. Right. I think there's better value options we'll get to.
Yeah, like you could play Jack Wood or Will Rogers for 6,000 or 65, and they're starting in the low 20s, and probably our better road course drivers have much more upside. So I know it's do or die, but I think it's way too risky here. Now, if he was starting 25th, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate we get him starting here in 7th. Next up, we have Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar. GMS Racing has been a big fade call for us this year. I think we've done really well with that. I don't see Zane Smith as a road course driver, and I'm probably out on him. I do play Carson Hocevar week in, week out. This is a driver I like, young kid. 7,700 is a decent price tag. I think I'm going to take my shot here on a value play. What are your thoughts on these two?
Like I said, he did the road course in ARCA and finished 4th, started 4th, so he held his position there. I'm okay with him. He doesn't fit in any of my builds, but like I said, GPD, I think he's going to have low ownership. I think people are going to overlook him, but fair price, okay.
Yeah, I just like the speed that this car brings. I think the Nice Motorsports team has really invested their shot in the playoffs this year with Carson Hocevar. So I would like to see him do well in the playoffs, and I think he's going to go in with some form. I'm hoping he can pull out a decent victory or top 5, something like that, really put himself on the board. Next up, we have Tyler Ankrum, 8,200. GMS Racing, as you had mentioned, he raced in the ARCA race. You got love because of it?
He wrecks a lot of trucks. He started 10th. He finished 22nd. So, he only was able to finish like 30 laps of it, and it wasn't there. It doesn't look like there's any damage or anything. It just looks like he was slow. Now, again, I don't know equipment or like he was running in this race. I thought in ARCA, they're all pretty standard. They're like, it's kind of like IROC where they're kind of like stock.
Yeah. So. It's pretty much everyone's running the same car.
Yeah, I think I'm out on him. And then the next 3 guys, I think we can just completely cross off the list.
Those guys, those guys being Danny Bond, Ryan Truex, your favorite, and then friend of TK's show, Tate Fogelman. All guys to fade, starting way too high.
I think Fogelman will have some ownership though, because there's a lot of 10K drivers, and I think people will try to jam 3, even 4 into a lineup, and you kind of have to play him as a punt. But if you think about it, if Fogelman even loses 10 points, but your other 10K guys all score like 50 with their place differential, then that's better than taking 2 20-point drivers, because you're going to end up with,
That's a fair strategy. That's not one that I typically take, but I could understand it. But 13th place, finishing somewhere in the 30s, doesn't sound appealing to me. Next up, we have Johnny Sauter, 7K, Thor Sport, kind of been on a losing season, to say. What are your thoughts?
He's getting kind of over the hill, but he has raced here before.
Right.
So, I mean, he's got probably top 15 potential. One of those, we're still looking for the correct term with somebody that finishes where they start, but I don't think he's that guy. I think he finishes maybe like 21st, 22nd.
Yeah, not the value I had on my radar. Been playing no Johnny Sauter, and it's worked. Christian X, racing in for Grant Infinger in the 98, for Thor Sport 74. Young kid, young driver. I could see a decent finish. Maybe someone I'm looking at here at 7,400.
Yeah, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do great. Like, the only one that we really have to look at is the Dakota track, and his average running position there was 22.1. So not like super excited about him. Like, actually in his profile, I have him, he's starting 15th, but I have him finishing like 29th. So,
ooh,
yeah.
Maybe rethink that on my end. Next up, we have Corey Heim, 8,900, ringer racing in the 51 for Kyle Busch. So definitely a good car. So we got to take a look here.
Yeah, I mean, he won the ARCA race. How's he going to stack up against this competition? He has the equipment. He's got the pit crew and everything. So I'm interested. I don't know if we can. I might put him in the GPP lineup, but in my cash, I think there's so many other guys with great floors that are sure things that I know about. I'd rather play them. GPP, I think he's definitely going in that lineup because I'm very intrigued to see what he can do.
That and the price tag looks really nice. I could see him being third driver in a ton of lineups tomorrow. So I could see him being pretty popular as well. Just being in the 51 truck. Now they know that he won the ARCA race. So pretty good opportunity here for Corey Heim. Next up, we have Stuart Friesen. Typically decent, I would say, dirt. And I don't know, he's got a little bit of pedigree in the road courses.
Yeah, he's good at road course driving. I mean, I think he's finishes close to here. It's maybe get to the top 15. Price is fair. So if he fits your build, I'm okay with him. I think he's more of leaning more towards the GPP side of the line than the cash side of the line. If you've got 8K left or 8-1 left, put him in.
Yeah, I don't mind Friesen. 8K, that looked like a really good price tag. Maybe him and Hocevar are going to be the majority from that range. For me, Haley Deegan starting 18th, 6,700. I don't mind that. No, I like Haley Deegan.
Yeah, and she hasn't done bad on the road courses. 23 average, 23.5 actually on both ones, the Daytona and the Coda track. So it's just I had to look at the number to make sure I didn't have like the same data point in for both of them, but it was honestly, she had the same average running position. So I mean, that puts her back a little bit, but 67, I think, she stays out of trouble. She does it. She just goes out there. She does her job. She's continuing to be like a sponge and trying to absorb and learn as much as she can here. So yeah, I think if she fits in your builds as like a value play, I'm okay with that. I think she'll have very low ownership. I think some people will look at all these like rising stars and ringers that are coming in over like a known commodity that knows the truck. And we always have this debate, which is more important, knowing the style or knowing the equipment.
Yeah. I was going to get to that with a low ownership. But yeah, if you land on Haley Deegan as like your last driver in, I don't think that's a bad way to land on a lineup. So like if you find yourself thinking that she's starting too high, I wouldn't think that way. And I think she would be okay if you already have the rest of your lineup set, you land on her. That's
No,
probably what'll happen.
that is if you're there and like, do I take Josh Resume, Spencer Boyd, or Bobby Reyes? Flip the coin. But no,
Yeah,
you land
right.
on Haley Deegan, you're excited.
Exactly. So next up we have Sheldon Creed, 9,800. 19th, starting 19th. That's not bad. Sheldon Creed does pretty well on road courses.
Yeah, I have him as listed as one of my prime drivers. He's very good at road courses. He's under 10K. I think that he can possibly score maybe 60 DK points, maybe be like a 6x value. Just looking at his numbers, he's the number one overall average composite with all the tracks that I put in here. So, and I know everybody didn't run all the tracks, but I looked at the Canadian Tire road course and that they did in 20, the Daytona road course in 20, Daytona in 21, and Coda 21. So those are the 4 courses. He ran all of them. His lowest average running position was 9.8. The rest of them are all in the 3s and the 2s. His overall composite is 3.6. So that tells me he's very good at road courses. In those road courses, I know you have 2 Daytona ones, but Coda and the Canadian Tire one are actually more similar to Watkins Glen. So I think there's some place differential here. There's some win equity here. There's just solid truck. And GMS, I know we've been kind of a little scared of, but I think this is the one truck out of the batch that is actually, I think they have a sponsor this week. I'm not positive, but I think this is the one out of the batch that if all the money that they have left, they should be putting into this program.
Absolutely nailed it, Mega. I'm not going to have to speak more on that. Sheldon Creed, top play tomorrow for Mega. Next up, we have everybody's favorite cowboy, Austin Wayne Self, 5,700. I imagine this is going to be a very popular play tomorrow.
Yeehaw.
I think, quite a bit of people will be on Austin Wayne Self.
And he's a good road course driver. It's not just the price. It's not just the name.
Right. If Austin Wayne Self doesn't do well,
we need him to go to Xfinity or Tommy Joe Martin to come to Truck Series just for one race, just so we can roster both of them.
Yeah, well, definitely in on Austin Wayne Self. Plug him in as one of your top values on the board. Next up, we have Josh Berry racing the 2025 car, starting 21st for the Rackley War Machine. Not bad price tag, 7,300. Really good driver. We have found out about Josh Berry this year is he can drive. Doesn't matter what car, doesn't matter what series.
But it does matter what track. Keep in mind that this is why he can't compete for a championship, is they didn't let him race in Xfinity in the Daytona one. They put somebody else in the car. And he really doesn't have a ton of road experience. So the price is amazing. He's a good driver, like you said, but we saw this Rackley truck break down on some really good NASCAR Cup drivers that were in it or like a sister truck to it. So I don't know. This is very intriguing. I have him as a GPP. I think he'll be very high owned just because of the price break you get and the name recognition, people that follow the other series and know about him from Xfinity, I think. And I don't think he's in the Xfinity race this week when I look through the field. So
I don't see Josh Berry. No, he is not.
But this it's something to watch though, because I know Annette's back in the one car, but I haven't seen anything that's saying that he's 100% healed and ready to go. So it could become the day of the race and he'd be like, sorry guys, I can't go, and then Josh Berry goes right back in there. So I really wish he would have raced like the ARCA race. I think that would have been a great experience for him to try to get some laps on this course, but he's going out here like cold. So it just kind of concerns me.
Yeah. Josh Berry, I don't mind the price tag for all those reasons we named, and I could understand if you wanted to go opposite with him being chalk. Next up, we have Tanner Gray, 6,900. DGR Crosley, Old Ford. I don't. I could understand it if you wanted to pivot off of Barry here. Maybe not this spot. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. What are your thoughts?
I think his brother's a better play here, but and we like Tanner, but I think he's just a little bit too high. If he was priced like Austin Lane himself, I'd feel better about it, but I have him finishing 31st. At Coda, his average running position was 28.8. Now Daytona was 9.5, and the Daytona in 20 was 18. So I mean that gives him a couple places to get ahead. But then again, that's not a real road course. You have like straightaways and cones. You don't have all the technical that you need to do for this one. So, So a GPP, not a fade, but I don't think he's cash this week.
Got it. All right. Kaz Grala, probably going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate tomorrow. This is one of the best road course drivers in the field, driving the Young's Motorsport truck. It's not a terrible truck at all. Brett Moffitt, I think, used to run this. Not Brett Moffitt. Who ran the 02? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank here. Wasn't there? Shoot, was it Ross Chastain? He ran this truck earlier this year? I think he did well in. Anyway, Kaz Grala is a really strong play tomorrow. Probably going to be the first man in cash for me.
Yeah, I absolutely like him. He's a ringer. He's probably like the next generation of Boris Said. Would you say, if people are familiar?
I would think that's perfect. They might not know Boris.
No, but Kaz Grala was it Austin Dillon that came down with COVID right before? Was it the Daytona road course, one of the road courses last year in Cup? And he was the first choice to put him to take over the car, and didn't do bad. So this guy definitely knows road courses.
Really
Coda,
good driver.
He races. He was in this truck in Coda. His average running position was 3.5, and it was 8 in the Daytona one. So he's the second besides Creed with running position. So, and actually my model has him winning this.
I did notice that, and I was kind of excited, but unfortunately we don't have really strong numbers on him at the DK Sportsbook. I did give it a look. Let me go back to that, because I thought, there might be an opportunity here if the books don't know. Let me see. You know what? Here we go. Sorry to hold things up here, guys. Kaz Grala was only 9-1 to win, and I thought, that's not deep enough for me. Ooh, Corey Heim 14-1, and Carson Hocevar 30. All right, now I got to get off of this. All right, so there wasn't strong numbers on him to win, but I like Kaz Grala. I think he's really strong to win tomorrow.
So now you have a trap guy in between. You have Lawless Allen, who is experienced on road courses, but I think he's a fade here. It's another Jordan Anderson truck, but I prefer the 3 over the 34. And
right.
So I'm kind of out on him unless you need him. I'd rather take Austin Wayne South if you need two guys in the same range. Actually, Jack Wood might be a better option. So, but then we come to AJ Almanderger, who hasn't raced trucks in a long time. But AJ Almanderger used to just be a road course specialist until this year, where he's ran it full in Xfinity and done a lot up in Cup also. So I have him finishing second in this race. He's just been really good. I don't know if he didn't have any truck data, but in Xfinity, he was averaged 5 running position at the Coda. So, and I didn't pull like any of the other numbers, but he just has had phenomenal numbers. The only issue that he ran into in Xfinity is Austin Cindric, where they tangled with each other and messed up each other's cars. But other than that, there's Austin Cindric isn't in this race. Ross Chastain is not in this race. And Stenhouse Jr. is not in this race. So I think he'll be okay.
Another thing to note is that him and Kaz Grala were teammates last year for Colleague Racing. Kaz Grala was the guy driving the Jeb Burton car this last year. So, if there is some camaraderie between those two on the track, so I don't think they're going to race each other, too hard with any disrespect. So I think that's something to note. And I think Kaz Grala and AJ Almanderger are probably my two favorite plays heading into tomorrow. Norm Benning.
I'm like,
is starting
26.
Oh, you know what? I remember at the end of that dirt race 2 weeks ago,
he was
I
probably
remember
25 laps down and like away from every single crash.
I was just about to say.
So everybody else probably behind him didn't finish the race.
We were on our I think ninth, green flag, green, white checkered. And I look in the top 20 and there's Norm Benning sitting in 20th place. I'm like, no way. That's when I had to turn the TV off. I turned it off. Norm Benning's.
Norm Benning reminds me of, I saw that Barbara Streisand's dropping a new album. It's just like somebody that's like been around for like years that just like casually keep on dropping hits. But,
Yeah, it's like Doyle Brunson still trying to play Hold'em at the age of 95. Norm Benning, please retire. 26th, no thanks. Jack Wood, this is a decent driver. GMS, 6K is not a terrible price tag. I don't mind this play here.
No, started 13th and ARCA finished 10th. It's just...
He doesn't have a good car.
Yeah.
This is the off random brand GMS. But
he's really not been, his numbers on road courses have been not good. So I think the equipment is better than the driver's skills. 28.7 at Coda. So
he's kind of right where he's going to be.
Yeah. Hopefully.
But I could understand that better than playing Tate Fogelman. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's a fair play to play if you wanted to go with, if you already had Austin Wayne Self in your lineup and you're trying to fit all these big 10K studs, as you had talked about earlier, and you're just like, okay, I have to play another one down here. That's when I don't mind playing Jack Wood.
Right.
Yeah. Just finish where you start, maybe finish 25th. That's what you're really hoping for.
Right. But
don't lose points.
We can just skip Jennifer Jo Cobb because she just has the speed. But Will Rogers,
Norm Benning,
in comparison to him for $500 more, is a phenomenal play, though.
Yeah.
I could see him up to 6X.
Cram Racing, Dawson Cram, usually the typical driver here. Will Rogers, I don't know too much on him, but did he race in that ARCA race you were just talking about, correct?
Let me see. I don't see him.
No? Okay, I thought I heard you say his
Rogers.
Oh, I thought I heard you say he just raced in that 6,500. I'm going to roll with you on this one. Will Rogers going to be with Austin Wayne Self as your super punts. Next up, we have Grant Infinger racing in the Corey Roper 7 Motorsports machine instead of the Thor Sport. Grant Infinger, super experience. I think he would be the perfect GPP pivot off of like Grala and Almanderger or Creed. I think he's really got decent upside here for a top 10 finish. And yeah, I don't mind the price tag, 9,600. You get a little bit of a discount.
He finished 4th at Coda.
Yeah.
So it's not great equipment. He's not the best road course driver, but he's gotten decent things out of the truck, no matter what kind of track it's been. So
I would say I'd like Creed more than Grant Infinger, but if I'm building multiple lineups, I'm going to want to throw maybe 1 or 2 of Grant Infinger in there for that, 10 to 15% discount and ownership that you would probably see. And yeah, I don't mind that.
Well, my model has Creed finishing 5th and Emfinger finishing 6th. So with the place differential, it gives Emfinger about 2 more points than him. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong here. And I think that would make a really nice contrarian build if you're fading some of these 10K guys that are in like questionable equipment. It was like when Harvick came and was running, I can't remember, it extended
Sam Hunt
or the truck, and had like one of the worst possible equipments, and people were playing because he was namesake, but he couldn't do anything because the equipment was so bad. Even talented drivers, sometimes you reach, you hit a wall if your equipment can't get you there.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do all you can with what
I don't mean like literally hit the wall. I mean figuratively hit the wall.
Yeah, you could have meant both. We would have understood. All right. Well, next up we have what I hope to be a typo. Chad Chastain?
Yes.
Who is Chad Chastain? It's his brother. Okay. Yes. Wow. Driving in the 45. Why is Ross not here? What's going on with this?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll look that up, but you have any thoughts on Chad Chastain, 4,900?
He's making his first start and he's in really good equipment. I think he is definitely someone to lock in his cash game. I think he'll be very high owned. I think you might think it's a typo.
Yeah, I literally was like, okay, what's going on here? Chad Chastain's
hopefully
brother.
He's not overly aggressive like his brother, but at 49, this 45 Nice truck has been solid. This year it was finished 18.9 average running position in who drove it for Bailey Curley. This is Bailey Curry's truck, and Bailey Curry has been someone that we played in DFS too. Vanilla guy, but solid, usually has a good price and usually does decent.
All right, so we're hitching our wagons to Ross Chastain's brother. I actually don't mind it. I just was reading he is the younger brother who races on some local levels. So yeah, don't mind that. 4,900 is a super discount for a really decent truck. Like if we're going to bet on the equipment and a driver did not make any mistakes, I don't mind that. So I kind of just really love that play. The more we figured out it wasn't a typo. All right. Next up, we have younger brother again, Taylor Gray, racing for David Gilliland in the 17. 7,800 is a pretty lofty price tag, but is it worth it?
I think it's more the truck than the driver. This has been a solid truck that I think some very important people have raced it in road races this year. Let me just see if I can see in the logs. I remember I was very impressed when I was doing research. So Riley Herbst was here in the Daytona one this year. So
tons of ringers.
Last year, Taylor, no, it wasn't Taylor Gray. It was, I can't remember who it was, but there have been some decent people in this truck this year. So it's very good equipment. His prices is a little bit higher than you'd want to pay for somebody down here. So that's why I have it at GPP, but I still think he can squeeze out a 4X with it.
Right. I don't think it's the worst play because of the truck. I think he's it's, if they're going to trust him to race in this truck, I don't mind it. So if I get there, if I land on it, decide between him and Barry.
He has got experience. He raced the ARCA race.
That's the guy I heard you say.
Yeah, he started 12th and finished 7th, so he progressed.
Yeah. Okay. Not a bad play here. Josh, I can't pronounce right.
Rayum.
Rayum.
He's French. Rayum.
No thanks. Can't pronounce your name. Not going to play it. No, Spencer Boyd and Bobby Reese going to be fades for me.
Boyd's intriguing, at least. Like, he's been okay on road courses. I don't struggle playing him.
I guess he's starting in a decent spot in 34th for his average run position that you have here listed on the model. That looks fairly decent. If he can get some positive place differential, I could understand the play at 5,300. So yeah, maybe Boyd to talk myself into that.
Yeah.
But no on Bobby Royce, although he's in the 3. I just wish Lawless Allen was in the 3. Yep. And then I would play Lawless Allen.
Absolutely. And starting at 35th, it would be perfect.
Yeah. Maybe there's still time. Make the switch.
I think there's an important note here too that I forgot about. AJ Almanderger was a late replacement for a scratch. Who was it that got pulled out? It was Chase Purdy, I think.
Oh yeah,
possibly.
So he's in a Kyle Busch car?
No,
is Purdy a GMS or Busch?
He's a Chevy, so he's
oh yeah, so he's GMS.
Yeah. So even though he's starting 25th, he's going to be scored 25th, but he has to start at the back.
Yep.
So he's going to have to fight to get up a little bit.
I don't mind that though.
I don't either, but I just thought it was noteworthy.
Yeah, sure. No, it is. If you think maybe he runs into trouble back there,
but the guys back here are really good, so that's the funny thing.
Right. I have a feeling there's going to be a moment within the first 5 laps where literally everybody from 10 to 20 is going to be in the back of the pack, and everyone from 25 and 4 through 40, 10 of them are going to be up there already. So I just think there's going to be an entire
it's not going to be it's not going to be the track road courses where the Pied Piper takes 15 cars in the wrong direction and they all overshoot the turn, and then 1 through 15 have now become 16 through 30.
Yeah.
But you do see a lot of compression crashes, and we saw this at Coda too, where one person jams on the brakes and then they all bam, 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 bam.
Yep, the accordion. Yeah, everybody gets the accordion effect on.
Slinky.
Yeah, if you don't see that brake, or your car or truck can't handle that brake on the first couple of turns because the brakes aren't hot enough, that's when we get radiators getting blown early in the race, getting damaged. So definitely something to be mindful of. That's where we talk about experience. That's what we really are talking about, is staying clean and in getting to the front early. And that's what we hope for with those experienced drivers. Timmy Hill, starting 36th, is decent play, in my opinion. 7,100. Guy always shows up for us. He's starting way in the back. So he's actually going to be my preferred play here in this low 7s. Your thoughts?
Top 25 truck, yes.
All right, lock it in. Timmy Hill.
30 points, 4.5x.
Yeah, I think as long as he finishes the race, he is going to be in the winning lineup. Next up, we have Roger Royce in the CMI 49. This looks like a guy that's going to be
anybody whose name starts with RE that's starting in the 30s, just cross off.
That is a great way to put it. If we could soundbite that and put that up with our Twitter post, we are going to. All right, Parker Kligerman starting 38th, Henderson Motorsports. This truck is not as good as you think, although the driver is. The truck is kind of trash. And that worries me about Parker. I love Parker in his abilities, but I know this Henderson truck is not that good. I don't think he can win this race with this truck.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 45 to 50 DK points here, possibly.
You could beat that though with someone else.
Yeah, I have him finishing 18th. So
if you had to fade anyone at the top, let's just lump these three together. We have Kligerman, Menard making a long return after retirement, starting with the 66 in a Toyota for Thorsport, and then Sam Mayer, who I think is going to be the best of the three, starting 40th. I like Mayer.
I would actually fade Mayer.
Okay, let's discuss.
I know he's starting 40th, but it's a Brett Holmes truck.
Brett Holmes is a guy that we kind of play though. Like we play Brett Holmes from time to time in the right spots when he's starting this far back. I mean, his trucks used to be in back here, and I know 10-6 is scary to play a Brett Holmes truck, and I get that. Sam Mayer did run the ARCA.
I know he did finish 6th at ARCA. At COTA.
I was going to say COTA, and then he had the ARCA finish earlier.
He's really maybe I'm just like Xfinity. He moved into Xfinity, and he has just not been good there.
Right.
He's just had some horrible races. And yes, he did win a truck race last year, but I was
going to say he raced this series before.
But it was a track. It wasn't a road course.
True.
I don't know. I'm apprehensive here.
I rather play Mayer, and then look. I would go Mayer, Menard, Kligerman. That would be my 1, 2, and 3. But the price tags on these guys aren't really as appealing. Like I rather play Infinger, Almanderger, Gralla, Creed.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said,
I rather play all those guys. But these guys are going to be high owned.
I think that you're going to have people playing Kligerman, Menard, and Mayer just for the place differential. Then I think
that's a mistake.
Then they're going to throw in like either Gralla or Almond Digger, or maybe one of these 9-3 guys, and they're going to play Austin Wayne Self, and then they're going to be stuck playing Tate Fullerman or Denny Bong, because that's about as much money as that they'll have left. Or maybe Jennifer Joe Cobb if they're lucky. They probably would also have to have they maybe could get Ross Chastain, but they might even get up to Self. You might, Chad Chastain, and then it's probably going to be Bong or Fulgerman, and then they'll have they'll think they've got it made with all their.
Let's do this right now for the listeners that have hung on this long. I'm going to pull up DraftKings right now, and we're gonna talk. All right, so let's put in Gralla and Creed, because that's probably the two guys you probably have to have tomorrow. And then let's go down here. Let's throw in Chad Chastain, and let's throw in, your Austin Wayne Self. So what do we got? We got 9,800 left over. And then I would say that you would probably want AJ Almandinger. 9,500 gets you John Hunter Nemechek. And then if you don't go with Almandinger and you wanted to go with Mayer, you're left with 9K. That's Corey Heim. I mean, lineups are going to look like everyone's going to love their lineups tomorrow. So I think you got to pick one of these three, and I'm picking either Mayer or Menard.
But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go swinging for the fences and take the place differential. So I've got that lined up here. So let's see here. If they throw in Menard, Kligerman, and
Mayer,
and then you take Fulgerman and Chastain.
Okay.
I mean, that still gives you 94. So
94, that gets you.
That gets you one of the guys. That gives you one of the three guys.
Corey Heim, probably.
Well, not necessarily, because it might not be a bad strategy, because you'd be looking at Gillian, Rhodes, or Crafton to put up there to potentially be the early leader, which makes sense. Oh, wait, no. I'm doing that with Tate Fulgerman in the lineup. Hello.
Yeah.
Forget that. I heard the wrong guy. That would be tragic. Tate Fulgerman.
Yeah, I just think
with Austin Wayne Self, it gives you 82, but we can't give out full lineups. So look at look at who's left and figure it out. But
yeah, right.
But we're just giving just disclaimer, DK. We're just giving examples here of like
right.
could build. We are not saying to do this or that these are legit lineups that are actually going to be competitive tomorrow. We're just speculating.
No. Speculation and roster construction about what ownership may be. So I think that will probably wrap things up. Any last thoughts here for the truck race at Watkins Glen?
No, it's good to get back. I wish we were at like a simple track. Like
I know,
like
I know.
If like give me Michigan,
yeah,
something
honestly.
like comfort. Like it's like coming off like the gastrointestinal bug and like having like a weird dinner or something like, like Chinese night. I just give me something like simple. I want tomato soup and toasted cheese or something like that.
I tell you, even on the NASCAR circuit, when I first saw the schedule at the beginning of the year, I thought, there's a lot of different kinds of races. How is this going to work for DFS? And now that we've been doing it week in, week out, I'm like missing the simple mile and a half like builds. Like, man, I miss just doing intermediate builds. Like, it's just different. It's harder this year, I would say. And I think it's making us all better DFS players because of it. All right. But, that'll wrap things up for the truck series. Meg and I are probably going to be sticking around for a breakdown for the Xfinity series. So catch that video after you listen to this one. Please like and subscribe to the Fantasy Sports Insight YouTube channel. Comment below with your fun feedback. We appreciate that as always. And if you want to get into the Discord channel for the projections, the core lineups that are coming out tomorrow before race, you can find that link on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can follow me at TKNation47. You can follow him, Mega Ruler 31. Guys, enjoy your Saturday, and we will see you in 5.
Good luck, everyone.